It was an interesting moment for me at the time because I really wasn't seeking someone or anyone, I should say. I just hoped if I did meet someone that they would be a positive person to meet. Everything he was saying and doing was making me fall in love with him.
A lot of people quit going, that's just how it got to be. But she keeps on fighting and it takes a lot of guts. No justice, no peace!
You two are like two immature cartoon characters.
Objection. Where is any of this evidence of this?
Order! I'm sanctioning you for $15,000.
I have a right to see my son.
This is all about a child. A poor boy born into a battle. Even with your lies, I gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I'm gonna survive, gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive. This is not justice! No justice! No justice! No justice! No peace! No peace! No justice!
You're trying to have a judge removed.
I'll sanction her for thousands of dollars for coming to court.
How much money is Mr. K and Mr. G paying you and your fellow judges to keep this woman away from her child?
Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I'm gonna survive, gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I'm gotta survive, gonna survive. Said I'm gonna survive, I'm gonna survive. Even with your lies. Welcome to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. We're coming live. You know, it's funny. I was going to say welcome back because I was watching the trailer. So I was like, oh, no, we're just starting for today. So I have to say that. Well, you know what? I have to give praise to God. Thank you for getting me up this morning to be able to do this show. It's just been an eventful week for me. I've been doing traveling and stuff like that for the movie and Three Corners Deception. Still available on Prime Video. Go check it out. And the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show. So I'm glad. Thank you for my fans. Thank you for tuning in because you know what? It's just gratitude here. Just saying thank you for tuning in. And I know because I get so many people that, you know, support me and on my social medias and my platforms and different outlets I have, and seeing the movie as well and seeing the show. So I appreciate all the support. Hopefully you're getting something out of it because it's a struggle for each and every one of us because we live in this world and this world welcomes different changes every day. One does not know what they're waking up to. We just hope that we can get through it that day. And that's how I live my life that day. Not the fact that 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now, just that day. That's all I ask for. Just give me the strength and the positivity because I think we all can go into the negativity because there's so much going on and out of your control. That's what's so interesting about it. We don't have a whole lot of control when things just happen to you. We can't tell somebody, don't do this, don't do that. We could influence them, but people are going to do whatever they're going to do, right or wrong. That is just the way it is because we are in a world of we can do what we want to do. But sometimes when you're hurting other people, it doesn't make it right. So I'm hoping that when you view my show, that the first thing you should be thinking about, love yourself, but also love your surroundings and try to make a stand. And what I mean by that is that lead as an example. It's this metaphor out there. I want to be treated the way I treat others. If I give you respect, give me respect. If I'm not talking bad about you, don't talk bad about me. I mean, unless it's true about something. But as far as that, let's talk about it so we can make it right. Let's change that because I think that's what's so important is that we talk about positive psychology and how change of behaviors. You have the power to change your behavior. Just because people might know of you not to be a very nice person, that doesn't mean you can't change that. I mean, but first of all, you got to believe that you're a nice person. and start changing your ways to why it's being delivered that you're not sensitive or you don't care about anybody else but yourself or something like that. And don't get me wrong, we all have a little selfishness in us. That's part of it. And that's not like bad, because you don't want to be walked on either. But when you're hurting other people just because you can, that becomes bad, and that's wicked. And I know that's in the Bible, is being a wicked individual, and we don't want to be wicked people. But I think we need to show love, to each other. I might don't understand what you do, why you do what you do, but that doesn't mean I should, spread lies about you or hate you because of it. No, I mean, that's not the way it goes. You have the power to change that about yourself. And that's why we provide therapy. I tell people all the time, if you don't want to go and seek a psychologist or psychiatrist or mental therapist, you can view my show. There's probably things I'm talking about. It's about you. You might not identify it's you at the moment, but if you listen and view, you realize it might be you. And there is ways to connect that or correct that about you without saying, hey, this is me. You might hear it enough and start digging in and start with the core, because it's not the surface. Remember, people, most of the problems with behavior is something that happened a while back and you just got accustomed to doing it. But nothing is stuck in stone that you cannot change that. You can change it. You have the power, you have the direction, and you have the wand to make those changes within yourself first. Always you first when it comes to changing. And then things around you will start changing. Maybe people will start realizing, this person, different. I think a lot of people don't understand like why they say, oh, you're not that same person when you're in a relationship. Well, it might took that other person to recognize and been straightforward to you and say, hey, I don't think that's working for us, or that's not working for me. And maybe that might be your motivation. Or maybe somebody else told you that a while ago. And maybe you just didn't want to listen at that time. And maybe you felt this person was worthy. But you also should look at the fact that you're worthy for changing. If you identify that as like, hey, this is an issue, I'm getting tired of hearing this, something like that. Because after a while, you're like, okay, this is repeating the same cycle. And I know that might don't sound like a problem, but it can be. And matter of fact, what's really important that you should try to identify, is that a problem that has been happening because those are norms that you may have been raised on those norms? And maybe that's when you realize that, okay, this is something that I have to correct because, I grew up like that. I didn't think it was affecting anybody else because in my family or my surroundings, it didn't bother nobody. That might be because you're not approachable too. Maybe that too. But I kind of like to tell people the truth on some things. It may not be something you want to hear all the time, but that's why you go to a therapist or a psychologist. We can tell you what we're hearing. We have an amazing guest today. She's been on my show numerous of times. Before I go ahead and introduce her, I'm going to take a brief commercial because that's something I wanted to let you guys know. Let's open it up with positivity. Let's get rid of the negativity. So we'll be right, but we're going to take this commercial and we'll be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Well, we're coming live. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. Hello, all. Three Corners of Deception movie is now available on Prime Video. How about that? October 14, 2023, on my 50th birthday, I am going to release this, and you guys can go ahead and help me do just that. Go see that movie. Thank you for all the support and not giving up on me. Go see that. Three Corners of Deception. Release me from all the pain and everything I've been through. Go see the movie. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you for all of the support. Go see that movie. Prime Video. Prime Video. How about that? God bless you all. I love you all. it was really hard for me to do that movie sometime because at that time, because 10 years ago is what I went through. It wasn't then. So I had to take, even they say you play yourself. It's not really always easy to play yourself. You have to play yourself 10 years ago when your
Right.
mind was discombobulated and you felt betrayed. You know what I mean? You felt like, life was just not it. And, not in my situation. And it is based on true events. And, unfortunately, it's about judicial deception, but it's also about romance and drama and divorce. It's something that just went to a different way. But as I changed it and went into a movie. But what's interesting about this situation, people don't understand. It's a flow technique for me. That was my release to finish this movie. Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Well, we're coming live all day. Oh, yeah. Yeah. One day I want to crack on that, right? But not today. So, with that being said, like I said, positivity versus negativity, folks. Let's fight that. Being nice to each other, not being mean to each other. I think it's a metaphor out there. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing at all, right? Silence doesn't mean that you're being mean. But I think we need to try to incorporate that in our life. Wake up, thinking positive, saying things nice, try to think about somebody else, and try to be considerate about other people because you just don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they're going through. Nobody knows what someone's going through. So just a smile could be like, hey, a little niceness could be like, yay, and just a little understanding go far away. So that's my little spill for today. Oh, before I even say that, if you're looking for me, Google me, or you can go to my website, thedrmeleekaclary.com, or my Instagram, or Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Snapchat, X. I'm there, or my YouTube videos. You can always check those out as well. And, so basically, these segments are up there. If you're looking for me still, you can email me. I'll try to talk about your situation, or I try to give you the resources. If I don't know the answer, I'll try to find the resources for you. This show is about helping, and sharing is caring, and I always will believe. Remember, when I bring guests on this show, they're always trying to help someone. We don't know what your situation is, but if we could try to set you up in the right direction, that's what we're doing. For me, it's pro bono. It's a given. I'm going to try to do that. Help you to achieve your best life as much as I can. All right. With that being said, I have an amazing and beautiful guest. She is an actress. She is an attorney. She's been on my show numerous of times. She is like this human rights activist. She's just does it all. And I just love the fact that she shows up on here on my show because she knows my mission. She understands it. And it's important. So I'm going to welcome attorney Kristin. Come on in here, Kristin. How
I'm
you
here.
doing?
Thank you.
You welcome. Looking all glowy. I love it. I love it. That lipstick is looking it, girl. Goes with your hair and everything.
Well, thank
Mm-mm.
you.
Welcome. You're welcome. Kristin, we talk about things, and I'm always going to pick your brain because you're not an actress or attorney. You're also a human rights activist. You're an activist in many different directions. And that's important for a lot of people because I know a lot of people are looking for help. And that's what people don't do. And instead of being taken advantage, and they're like, okay, well, when people hear attorneys, or they're like, oh, no, that's money. And sometimes, and I know, I mean, but they're worried because they're not going to get their worth of whatever they pay. That's the main thing. It's not the fact that, hey, attorneys went to school to learn the law. We need that. You know what I mean? So that's somebody who took the time to go to school for that many years to help you out. But they're always thinking, oh, they're going to take advantage. And that's not the case here. But when we say that, and I want people to understand that reputation needs to change. We all need to change our thought process. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some people who probably don't do as much, but that might be a personality. That's not just the profession. That might be just that person. Maybe they just don't want to do the work, or maybe they don't want to do that. So you know what? I look at that when I look at you and I say, this is not that individual. So I want you to shed the light on that because I don't see that. I see a person who likes to help and find a way to help, whatever that can. If she doesn't know something, she's basically going to find out that information for you. And I try to use your resources as I do. I send people along Can't ask them, to make them drink the water. But when they ask me, I sure be like, oh, I know somebody. I know somebody now. I know a bunch of people. Somebody. So I'm glad, sis. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I want to say that to you. Now, with that being said, we talk about juveniles. And I think that's something that hits home for both of us. And it hits home with me a lot because their generation, the youth, so what they're doing, it's like, hey, you got to change some things. We have to be examples for the young population out there. Because believe it or not, if we can have it our way, they're supposed to outlive us. So they're doing things that we can try to guide them. And one thing that I have an issue with, as being a parent myself, I have a young teenager. And what am I, well, not the what I'm not doing, because I know that, the legal system and psychologists, we kind of work together when it comes to mental health. How do we get to the understanding that to educate these parents about their juvenile children, that they need to be accountable, but showing them that we have to also be accountable so they can learn to be accountable in their actions? Because, like I said before, and I just saw this on TikTok, 8-year-old was suffocated by a 12-year-old, her cousin, being charged right now. They want to charge this 12-year-old as an adult. And
Yeah.
I'm like, are we not going up in the room and looking at people and children, checking up on, making sure they're playing nice? Because I know that's what I did when my children was growing. I don't even allow the doors to be closed. I'd be like, we're not doing that today. I want to know what y'all doing up in there. Because first of all, I want to make sure my kid was playing nice. Because some kids don't play nice behind the doors. You don't know what child has been raised maybe a little spoiled, getting their way. They come over somebody else's house for playtime. They want to bully a little bit. That's not what it's about. So what can a parent do when it comes to a situation like that? Because that's an awful situation. I mean,
Right.
and on the phone, a child lost her life, a child from another child, because of a phone, an iPhone. What are we saying?
It's so dangerous. Well, first of all, thank you for the compliments earlier about the type of attorney you believe me to be. And I just want to say there are a lot of attorneys out there that fall in the category that you were describing. It's not all bad. Honestly, most attorneys that I personally have worked with and encountered over the many years do this because they're in this business of trying to serve others and serve justice. So, with that
I
being
love
said,
that.
oh,
And before you go further, no, I'm loving what you're saying, because I know you about to go. He just telling me I got to go on break. But I'm glad that you identify that, because, like I said, you are one of those that are for real, and I'm always going to give you that respect. But on that note, I want you to finish back when we come back, okay? All right. You know what? We're going to take a break, but we are going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary show on Bold and Brave TV network with the beautiful and talented attorney Kristin and the amazing actress. Don't go nowhere, folks. We'll be right back. It was because of me having a voice and saying something about what had happened to me, because I can't believe it. I can't believe that these individuals put their good name and their reputation on the line just to hurt somebody because they spoke up. Yes, see, that's what happens when you speak up. I get it, but I'm not fearful because of that. Even though I went through a lot and still go through a lot of things, I got God on my side, and I feel like if that is not enough, then I don't know what it is. Because I'm still standing and I'm still telling my story, and I'm gonna keep on telling stories, and that is why I like film. Because film, you'll be able to express things that you went through and experiences and people. You'll be amazed what you can do. Hello, all. Three Corners of Deception movie is now available on Prime Video. How about that? October 14, 2023, on my 50th birthday, I am going to release this, and you guys can go ahead and help me do just that. Go see that movie.
Thank you for all the support and not giving up on me. Go see that Three Corners of Deception. Release me from all the pain and everything I've been through. Go see the movie. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you for all of the support. Go see that movie. Prime Video. Prime Video. How about that? God bless you all. I love you all.
Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Well, we're coming live. Woo-hoo. We are still with the beautiful, amazing attorney Kristin. Come on in here, Kristin.
I'm
All
here.
right, welcome back. Oh, you're welcome. Well, before we were leaving and exit, you were about to get into your answer or response.
Yes. You were asking about what can parents do, and you're giving
Yes.
us situations specifically that recently occurred that's been in the media. I think, generally speaking, what to do in each situation with children. I mean, they don't come with a handbook. I wish they did. They just don't. They send you off to the hospital, or you have a child some other way in your life, and they just don't come with a guidebook. And each child is different, even if they did come with one. But each situation is unique. The composition of the family is unique. The background, the experience, what's going on with each parent, their household, it's all different. But one thing I think that cuts across all socioeconomic lines, all mental health lines, whatever's going on with the family, is a word that I think can touch on with everybody to help a child. And that word is connection. If you can develop a connection with your child, stay connected. For example, in your scenario, you were talking about where was the parent? Why was nobody checking on that person? What's going on? Well, if they had been more connected, maybe that could have stopped. Maybe the connection needed to be physically checking on the child. Maybe the connection needed to be recognizing what was going on with the child. So as a parent who is dealing with children with issues or even without issues to help prevent them, staying connected, I think, is the biggest thing. Now, there are a lot of other things we can look at when we get into very specific situations on what to do with juveniles who already are touching the law. But I think, just to answer your question generally, that's the number one thing. And we've talked about that in so many different ways.
Yes.
Even parents that aren't necessarily struggling and they think they've got it all together, they may lose that connection. Maybe they're too busy with trying to provide for the family. And that's an admirable thing to do, obviously, but you still have to make that time. Maybe it's one of the children who come home and they just are babysat by the social media, by the video games and things of that nature. I mean, you're talking about an 8-year-old being on TikTok. I believe the rules on TikTok are 13, if I recall correctly. Don't quote me on that. So why is that child on there in the first place? Why is that child being left alone? There may be a lot of factors we don't know. We don't know if perhaps Department of Child Services had already identified that family and had been involved. We don't know what was going on with those parents. So there's a lot of things that we don't know.
Yes. Well, you know what I saw, let me just correct something. It's a video that had to do with the incident that happened.
Okay.
And I don't know if an 8-year-old posted or not, but I know that you have this and people are posting the incident and what happened. Are we quick to post something that's negative? But when you say that, hey, as a parents, what y'all could do, like I said, check up on your child. I mean, I think what we're doing, like what you mentioned, you know, you don't know what's on their menu that day, you know, workload or what's going on. But if we're worried about our child doing something to another child and they see stuff, think that that is real, I think we are obligated as parents to start asking questions on what are you looking at. I mean, the other day I went through my son's phone. I was like, what's this? Let's talk about this. I mean, it was nothing bad, but you know, when I asked you what's going on with your day, this is part of your day. You did a video for school. I want to know, oh, so how was that? You know, oh, so what did y'all, oh, you got a bunch of pictures, you and your boys. Oh, really? So what was that about? How was that meet and greet? What y'all do that day? That's me being nosy, but I think we need to be more nosy because we're giving these children, young teenagers, juveniles, we're giving them space that we don't need to give them. I mean, why do you feel that as a parent, you think they're entitled to have privacy on the phone? Because they're not entitled. You paying the bill, I'm paying that bill. You are not entitled a privacy. I'm sorry, you're just not. Why? What? If I need to know the code. Give me the code, okay? And I
Absolutely.
know the code, okay? I'm not even. And don't you do that facing thing either. I'm serious. I'm that strict with my son. I'd be like, no. And I was like that with my girls too. Like, no, I don't even remember them having a phone. I think because of our situation, my parenting with the co-parent is why my son has a phone so early on. But far as that, I didn't even allow my daughters to have a phone. They always say that, you didn't let us do nothing. All right. And I'm like, well, that doesn't mean I'm not all up in his stuff though, because I am. And I think that's what we need to do. Parents is, I don't know if it's scared of our children, because I'm starting to think that there's some parents that might be like scared because they'll be a friend. I ain't got time to be no friend. I'm a parent for a reason.
And I think that's something we've seen change over time in parenting styles through generational change, that it has flip flopped. The pendulum has swung back a little bit, where it feels like the children are a bit more in control of some families than, in fact, that the parents are. The other thing, too, to keep in mind that you touched on is you could be an absolutely vigilant parent and knowing what's going on in your child's life. But if you're in a situation where you have a separation and there's another parent, you don't always know what's going on there. You could even have a court order that specific things are supposed to happen a certain way, but you don't know. You could be the most vigilant parent there is and find out that something has happened while in the other parent's care with that child. And so now you have a whole new situation that you have to address with that child, had to deal with when one parent is given a green light and the other one's giving a red light. And now suddenly a child has to make decisions about their own safety and their own health that normally they wouldn't have to make. And so that's something that's kind of next level stuff that, I mean, with the divorce rate being more than 50%, this is something that we deal with. And how do we deal with that when the children are in different situations and have different expectations in each different household?
Yes. You hit a good point, because that is hard to deal with too. But you know what? We're going to address that a little bit when we come back on a brief commercial with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Don't go nowhere, fam. Be right back with the amazing Kristin. It was really hard for me to do that movie sometime, because at that time, because 10 years ago is what I went through. It wasn't then. So I had to take, even they say you play yourself. It's not really always easy to play yourself. You have to play yourself 10 years ago, when your mind was discombobulated and you felt betrayal. You know what I mean? You felt like, life was just not it. And, not in my situation. And it is based on true events. And, unfortunately, it's about judicial deception, but it's also about romance and drama and divorce. It's something that just went to a different way. But as I changed it and went into a movie. But what's interesting about this situation, people don't understand. It's a flow technique for me. That was my release to finish this movie. It was because of me having a voice and saying something about what had happened to me, because I can't believe it. I can't believe that these individuals put their good name and their reputation on the line just to hurt somebody because they spoke up. Yes, see, that's what happens when you speak up. I get it, but I'm not fearful because of that. Even though I went through a lot and still go through a lot of things, I got God on my side, and I feel like if that is not enough, then I don't know what it is, because I'm still standing and I'm still telling my story, and I'm gonna keep on telling stories. And that is why I like film, because film, you'll be able to express things that you went through and experiences and people. You'll be amazed what you can do. Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Well, we're coming live. I was talking to my engineer. You gonna answer that question? All right, come on back in here, Kristin.
Hello.
You know we gotta have fun on the show because I was getting on him 2 weeks ago about it. So I wanted to
He
make
has
sure
a
he
lot of
did not
wisdom,
think I
actually.
forgot. I did not forget. Before we went on break, yes, we talked about what I think we heard something with one of the engineers, and he had a valid point about that. When you go back into what is available to the new generation than what was available back then for the old generation. We didn't have social media as much. And there's negatives and positives to social media. Okay. So I'm never gonna, say, hey, this is all bad. I don't believe in that because I believe my story would not be what my story if I didn't have social media and I didn't expose certain people and what they're doing. So for me, that was great. But then here's the thing about that offset. You got social media and they're raising your children in place of as parent raising the child because they're looking at that as like, hey, this is what we're doing here. They're on it. If you look at the tally on how many people are on their phones, it's all the time. And I don't get me wrong, I hit that phone too. But then, and how I found information about my son, which is nothing negative. It's just I got nosy because I get tired of asking him a question, what's going on with your day? And I'm like, you don't got no same day, same thing, school, this, that. I'm like, okay, well, let's see anything else going on. And then you start seeing, oh, and it was all fun. But I wanted to know what was that fun about? Give me some details. And that's not during a time that I was just sitting here. No, we was at dinner table and stuff like that. First of all, I don't allow you to use your phone at the dinner table. So I just happened to say, okay, this is time to talk and let's ask some questions. And that's what happened. So with parents now, you still have the availability to snatch a phone up and start asking questions. Why do you like this? You know what I mean? Because there might be some things that they're watching, and you got to ask them, why do you like this? Like, okay, I asked that question. This is a cartoon. Why you like that cartoon that cusses? It's funny. But this is, I mean, because before in my time, I didn't see any cartoons that swear. They weren't swearing. There's
Right.
swearing involved now in cartoons. Now, don't get me wrong, it's funny and some of the stuff they're saying, but I'm like, okay, I've never seen it like that. I wasn't exposed to that, but they are. So I think that when we start watching things and our children today are watching these things, I think we need to give some guidance on how you're watching this
Right.
and what's your understanding of what you're watching. Because I want to know about the little girl that suffocated her cousin over a phone. Mentally, did she think that girl was going to wake up after this? Did she think that this little girl was going to be asleep? I mean, did you see something on TV that they suffocated a person and then all of a sudden they got up? I mean, what was that mindset of that 12-year-old that thought that this was okay to do? What did they see? Did they see somebody in the household do something like this? I mean, because kids are like they're like copycats, and they like to repeat certain things they see. So and I'm gonna have to still go back. I'm not jumping on you, parents, but I am making identification that we need to do more. When I tell you, when you are a parent, that is for eternity. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you have to be all about your 30-year-old or 25-year-old, but no one said that you're not a parent anymore. You should still have influence because those 20, those 30s, 40s, whatever, may have children that you may have to educate them and explain to them about some things because they probably might not like the parent as much as grandma or grandpa because they may don't understand them at this moment. So you're going to have some type of communication. And I think we need to start back on going back to the fundamentals of right for wrong, what's make believe, what's true, what you can't do, what you can do. what you shouldn't do, what you should do.
I would agree with you on that. And I think one of the challenges of parenting these days is something new we've never seen, which is the opportunity and the availability of technology to put us in touch with information around the world, information kids normally couldn't get their hands on, and at any moment. And it's, you can get it now, just touch a screen and put in a couple words and information pops up. I think as parents for this generation, we need to drop everything that we know and think we know about parenting from when we were children. So as your engineer pointed out, when you're a kid, you define how you think you want to be a parent for the next generation. You always want to do better, more. At least that's how it's supposed to be. So you think you're going to do a certain way, but what changes is everything else. The entire world has changed. We're not dealing with the same world, the same factors. When we were on phones as a kid, it was in the house, in the middle of the house with a long cord, and everybody knew you're on the phone. Now you can be on the phone anywhere. So parents shouldn't be afraid to set up those parameters, to set up those rules, to be more invasive than perhaps they think their parents were. But the truth is, the parents might have actually been invasive, because if you think about it, when you were standing in the kitchen, your parents could hear everything you were saying. So is it really that much more invasive to get your child's passcode if they do have a phone, to let them know at any moment you're going to look at it, to ask the questions? And for me, it's not just asking, why do you like this? First of all, I'm going to ask, because I guess I'm older, what is this? You make some assumptions that we make based on our understanding and knowledge. We think a cartoon may be safe because when we grew up with Saturday morning cartoons, they basically were. But just because it's a cartoon, that doesn't mean it's safe. There's all genres with cartoons, all genres with different things. It's important to know what it is. And the other interesting thing I have found is that making sure the child understands what it is they're looking at. So many children use these words. They don't know what they mean. They'll use abbreviations for words which stand for much bigger, and they're using adult terms in ways that they don't understand. They don't understand what they're inviting into their world because of the terminology, and all the kids use it, and they think it's cool to say certain words. It's just not appropriate. So watching how your child texts and how they communicate I think is important, and asking them if they understand what it is. And if their understanding is different from yours, explain to them what that message means to the rest of the world. But again, this all circles back to connection, involvement, being there. So that's kind of like a step one. And unfortunately, not every child has that. And because they don't, they may become involved in the system one way or another, because that has been lacking in their life.
Yes, you know what? Absolutely agree with that. And I'm going to throw a little bit communication, which is connection, communication, because we need more of it. We need more of it. And on that note, we are going to take a brief commercial, and we'll be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. We're coming live. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Hello, all. Three Corners of Deception movie is now available on Prime Video. How about that? October 14, 2023, on my 50th birthday, I am going to release this, and you guys can go ahead and help me do just that. Go see that movie. Thank you for all the support and not giving up on me. Go see that. Three Corners of Deception. Release me from all the pain and everything I've been through. Go see the movie. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you for all of the support. Go see that movie. Prime Video. Prime Video. How about that? God bless you all. I love you all.
It was really hard for me to do that movie sometime, because at that time, because 10 years ago is what I went through. It wasn't then. So I had to take, even they say you play yourself. It's not really always easy to play yourself. You have to play yourself 10 years ago when your mind was discombobulated and you felt betrayed. You know what I mean? You felt like, life was just not it. And, not in my situation. And it is based on true events. And, unfortunately, it's about, judicial deception, but it's also about romance and drama and divorce. It's something that just went to a different way. But as I changed it and went into a movie. But what's interesting about this situation, people don't understand. It's a flow technique for me. That was my release to finish this movie. Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. We're coming live. Oh, yes, we are. Okay, come on, turn Kristin. Come on in here, beautiful. All right,
Hello.
welcome back. It's never a lot of time that we always have. I mean, we get into it. We practice this all the time. It's like we go into it, but it's so much to talk about when you deal with the adolescents and juveniles because, I we have this pushback of as a parent what to do. And it's like, how you do it and how do you connect the dots. When you mentioned about co-parenting, yeah, I understand that you can't control another parent for doing something. Like you got one parent doing one thing, another parent is doing another. But when we say what we say right now, this is across the board, people. Even if you're a co-parent, it's how you're parenting. That's another thing. So it's like, either you be a co-parent and you don't like this way or that way. Well, here's the fundamentals. I mean, get involved with your kid and ask them what they're thinking, what she or he is thinking and watching. I don't see how that is important for the other co-parent. I think that if you're going to allow your child to watch something that maybe the other co-parent won't, or maybe somebody else wouldn't at, this age appropriate, then you need to go ahead and explain that to them, like, okay, what you're watching here. Okay, this is somebody's theory, or this is maybe make believe, or this is based on true events of how they feel, and it's something that happened to them. But that doesn't mean that we're supposed to say, hey, this is your life. I think you gotta understand what fiction and nonfiction is. You know what I mean? And it goes with the TikToks and whatever, because people put all types of things up there, or not just TikTok, but Facebook and Instagram. It's all there. I mean, I like I said, I like the social medias. I just don't. When it comes to the kids, you need to explain to them and help them understand what you're watching and what you put up there, because not everybody on those are good people. And I have to say that because some people lure children under different names, and that's how you get all that molestation or sex trafficking and all this other stuff. You think you're talking to another kid, and you're talking to a grown behind adult, but you don't know because they got a freaking emoji up there that look like a freaking kid.
Right.
I mean, I'm just saying, no offense, we love our little emojis, but who's behind the cover?
And that's something that children don't understand, that whole catfishing. They think that they are messaging their favorite singer just because it says that that's the singer's account and it's been verified. It doesn't mean that's who's responding. Next thing you know, the child's giving their address because they want to get free tickets to a concert and they've been set up for danger. So honestly, a parent needs to become informed, become an educated. We grew up as this social media, as computers even became a thing. It's on us to either educate ourselves as parents, or if we haven't become educated, then don't just throw your child into it. So many parents let the children teach them, which is okay, but they also don't realize that it's being filtered through the child, and there may be a lot of other things. Don't just stop there. Find out for yourself what these things are, what's going on. But beyond that first step of connection, I'm kind of touching on some other things, which would be parenting and educating yourself. Some parents may not be capable or able for whatever reasons to do that, maybe mental health, drug use, socioeconomic reasons. But when we look at some of the comments that come out of the National Institute of Justice, specifically to juveniles, what's really interesting is that some of the things that we commonly use in the juvenile justice system, they find really don't influence or reduce recidivism, and other things do. And one of the things that they comment that they really think affects and reduces the rate of repeat offenders is a multidisciplinary approach, which includes educating parents. And every county, every state, every community has different services. And some of our communities, we call it wraparound services, where we're including the parents and educating them and finding out specifically what that family needs. And you can do that on your own. If your child isn't in trouble with the juvenile justice system, this is something parents should be doing. There's community outreach all around us. There are community programs through churches, through YMCAs, YWCAs, Boys and Girls Clubs all around it. Not only does it help the child, but there are programs available that incorporate the parents as well. So I think that's one step. Another step, going a little bit further, is if your child is having an issue, recognizing that it's okay to identify that they're having an issue, and
That's right.
and to get them help that they need, because that's another factor that they found really does help prevent children from continuing down a negative path, which would be cognitive behavioral therapy, something you can speak of in way more detail than I could. But identifying these behaviors that are happening, and maybe it's the influence from how they were raised, the parents, the peer group, those kinds of things, but recognizing that and having a professional help guide them how to change that can also help reduce that. But they won't get that help if the parent, mentor, guardian, grandparent, whoever it is, teacher, whoever it is in their life doesn't recognize it. Or if unfortunately it's not recognized and then they are in the juvenile justice system, then it might be a probation officer or the court that orders that for them. But in a lot of these cases, that can be prevented by recognizing these things in the first place.
And that's great. Thank you for saying that, because what I also heard out of this is that, there's also people that can be not like more like leadership. It don't have to be just a parent, you guys. I mean, because if you're the best auntie, you could be the best auntie and say some things, because they may also listen, because they might have a better connection with auntie or uncle or a coach or a probation officer, or not even in the system, but some family member. I think that sometimes when we have different family members that step up, and they, the parents might feel like, hey, that's not your business to step up. But you know what? There is sometimes the auntie and uncle and, big sister, big brother see some things. There's nothing wrong with speaking up, because sometimes they may get a better connection in that situation than that individual. And I have to say that, because I try everything. Why don't you talk to him? Why don't you talk to her?
Yeah.
Because I try it all. It's not one avenue I don't try. And what you also mentioned about parent groups, them children could come on along to know what's going on and how you're supposed to respect your parent and listen and talk. Because to me, it's the connection, it's the communication that we're not having. We're not having, people. We're really not, because we have a lot of problems going on. And the first thing I always hear, this new generation. Well, don't you think you have some influence on the newer generation? I mean, something. I mean, we can't keep on blaming, well, this newer generation don't have no respect. Well, how did they not have respect? What was they able to get away with? Because I know in this house, I'm on it. I'm like the villain here. I'm like, I'm not your friend. You don't like it, but whatever. Punishment. I don't care. You know what I mean? I ain't got time for it. I really don't. I'm not the best parent, but I'm a pretty okay parent. I'm very pleased with my kids and how they came out. I do the best I can with what I can do it. But if I can't do it, I am one of those people that say, hey, we need to get some help, because you ain't listening to me. You're not understanding. And I have done that. I've have other people. Why don't you speak to him? Why don't you speak to her? And she ain't listening to me. So why don't y'all have a little meet and greet? Why? Because hearing it by somebody else, but that's still me as a parent working through them. See, the job didn't stop there. My responsibilities didn't stop there. I just reversed psychology and went to a different level, because I noticed that connection was still there for someone else, but they might can get through them. So with that being said, I'm going to go on a brief commercial, and I'll be right with the Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Don't go nowhere, from. We'll be right back with the amazing Kristin.
It was an interesting moment for me at the time because I really wasn't seeking someone or anyone, I should say. I just hoped if I did meet someone that they would be a positive person to meet. Everything he was saying and doing was making me fall in love with him.
A lot of people quit going, that's just how it got to be. But she keeps on fighting and it takes a lot of guts. No justice, no peace!
You two are like two immature cartoon characters.
Objection. Where's any of this evidence of this?
Order.
I'm sanctioning you for $15,000.
I have a right to see my son.
This is all about a child. A poor boy born into a bad. Even with your lies, I gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I'm gonna survive, gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive. This is not justice. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No peace. No justice.
You're trying to have a judge removed.
I'll sanction her for thousands of dollars for coming to court.
How much money is Mr. K and Mr. G paying you and your fellow judges to keep this woman away from her child?
Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I'm gonna survive, gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I've gotta survive, gonna survive. Said I'm gonna survive, gonna survive.
Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Well, we're coming live. We are still with the amazing Kristin. Come on in here, girl. You know, Kristin, it's always a pleasure. I know, ha pa pa. Like abracadabra. Boom, here she goes. You know, it's like we never have enough time, and that's why I love when you come on the show. But like I said, we pick topics that is always going to be top of the line. And you try to get through it because we're trying to say something. We're trying to explain something to parents and that you could still be the parent. You know, I keep hearing it before about this new generation. Well, that new generation needs guidance, and we need to take some of that old generation on some of that wisdom that we do have, and we need to explain it. And if you can't explain it to them, then you go and do some research and you get people to help to explain that. Because I think that's where we're leaking, and we are lacking that, I want to say. And there's enough stuff on Google to, you know, ways to communicate effectively and listening and all that. But like I said, there's other ways. If you work that brain and you work that communication bracket, then you can change something in the generation. Because that's the key. That that's the major key there, and that's kind of what I'm trying to explain. So I'm not jumping on our parents. It's just that if you have a disconnection that during your upbringing, and there's something that you see in your new generation, which is your kids, and you don't like, you have an opportunity to still influence that child differently. Because I
Right.
know I took some things of my upbringing that I didn't like, and I changed it. You know what I mean? I mean, there's some things I liked, and there's some things I didn't like, and I was like, nah, we're not doing that today. And it may made me become a stricter parent because of that. You know, that key latch kid stuff. Yeah, okay, I get it, but I didn't care for it as much, you know. And I think I never wanted to be that kind of parent, so I took that away. And I always tell my children, you're gonna take something that you might not like and some things that you like, and you're gonna put it in your own spill when you have children. You, if you chose to have a family of your own, you know what I mean? And I think that's important that we need to explain, because we do have great values as being a parent and some of these upbringings, but to educate these children now, we have to take it up a notch, because we're up against internet and all types of stuff that they're watching that is freedom. You know, in places like here, it's freedom of speech and freedom of one of the amendments here. You know what I mean? And we can't take that away, but you can educate them on the way about that way. if you have something to close out with, that'd be great.
Oh, I was just going to say the values and the fundamentals of who you are as a parent that you want to impart on your child can stay the same, absolutely, without being stagnant in your parenting to that child. So in other words, you can still have core values, but change how you approach that with the child due to the changing conditions in our world. And I think that's what some parents are maybe afraid to do, because it's new and it's different, or maybe they don't know how, but there's enough out there that you can educate yourself on how to do that, to approach the values that you have in today's world.
That's right. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you again, Kristin, for being on the show. I'm sure I'll have you again on the show because we have more to say, more to do. Hey, that's what we do. I mean, I need you, hopefully you need me, and we need each other so we can help each other and help everybody else out there. So that's a great thing. So I appreciate you. Well, and you also can Google Kristin because she's on the web. So please Google if you're looking for her. And if you're looking for the Dr. Meleeka Clary, you can go to my website, like I said, drmeleekaclary.com, and my social medias out there. It's available. Like I said, I'm on TikTok. I'm on, Facebook, Instagram. They're all there, people. I know y'all reach out to me, so I appreciate it. I really do appreciate you all. But what I am going to say, if I haven't said it already, I love you. And if no one has said it to you, I love you. And I care about you. I care about how you can live a better quality life in the world of psychology when we need psychology, because that's the living. And that's what we do for mental health awareness every day. Every day, mental health exists. So with that being said, I want you to have a wonderful day and a weekend to come. And God bless you all and take care of yourself. And thank you again for tuning in to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. All right. See you later. Bye.
You've been watching the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show. Tune in next week as Dr. Meleeka will help you shift towards a better life. But this show doesn't stop there. She'll provide helpful tips regarding surviving the entertainment industry and the judicial system with practical information. Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, here on the Bold Brave TV network.